Okay, let's just dive right in. Today we are unpacking one of the most, I think, radical and challenging schools of thought in psychology, Alfred Adler's individual psychology. And we're doing it through the lens of that global bestseller, The Courage to be Disliked, which frames these huge ideas as this incredible dialogue.
It's the perfect way to do it, really, because the core idea is itself a bit confrontational. Adler's philosophy boiled down is that the world is astonishingly simple, and that happiness, well, it's something you can have instantly.
Instantly. I mean, that's a massive claim, especially when you
Yeah.
just look around at the world, which is why the book's structure works so well, is this ongoing argument between a very cynical youth and this unflappable philosopher. It basically forces you, the listener, to question everything you think you know about trauma, your past, everything.
And that's exactly our mission today. We want to get past the surface level stuff and really unpack Adler's three most revolutionary ideas. Ideas that just completely turn our understanding of cause, identity, and, our relationships on its head.
Okay, so let's start with the absolute foundation, because everything else sort of rests on this one shift in perspective. The idea that we don't live in an objective world, but a subjective one.
Exactly. Adler argues we don't experience the world directly. We live in a world of our own interpretation. We assign meaning to everything. So the reality you think is fixed and objective, it's not. It's filtered through your own personal lens.
Which means if I'm finding life complicated and difficult, Adler would say the problem isn't the world. It's the meaning I've given it.
Right. The book has that perfect analogy, the well water. Objectively, the water in the well is, say, 60 degrees. All year round, that's a fact.
But in the middle of a hot summer, that 60-degree water feels wonderfully cool. Drink that exact same water in the dead of winter, and it feels warm. The water hasn't changed at all, but my experience of it, my subjective reality, is completely different.
And that subjective reality is everything. So the implication is huge.
Mm-hmm.
The world seems complicated only because you are making it so. Change yourself, change your interpretation, and the world itself will appear simpler. The issue isn't the world, it's your outlook.
And that idea just sets the stage for what is probably Adler's most provocative claim, the one that makes everyone sort of push back. It's this total rejection of what we call etiology.
The Freudian idea, the
No.
psychology of cause and effect.
Exactly, that your past determines your present, that trauma is this thing that controls you.
And Adler he throws it all out
Okay.
completely. In its place, he puts teleology, which is the study of purpose, of the goal. He says, we aren't driven by past causes. We are always, always moving toward a goal that we're setting right now.
Wait, hold on. Let's really drill down on that. Because it sounds like he's just denying trauma. How can you possibly say that?
He's very careful here. He's not denying the event happened. He's denying that the event itself is what determines your life. He says no experience is, in and of itself, a cause of our success or failure. What matters is the meaning we give to that experience, the purpose we use it for in the present.
So it's the event versus the meaning we assign to it. That's the critical distinction. Let's use that example from the book. The youth's friend who becomes a total recluse after, suffering terrible parental abuse.
Right. The standard etiological view is clear. Past abuse, the cause, leads to his present anxiety and seclusion. The effect, he's a prisoner of his past.
But Adler's teleological view flips that on its head. It says the friend has the goal of not going out and is then manufacturing the feelings of anxiety and fear as a means to achieve that goal.
Yes. The anxiety is a tool, and you have to ask, what's the purpose? What goal does staying in his room achieve? Well, it could be revenge against his parents. By making them worry, he makes himself special and keeps them tied to him. He's chosen a goal, and the trauma becomes the justification.
That sounds incredibly harsh. I mean, it sounds like you're blaming him for his own suffering.
And that's the resistance everyone feels at first. But Adler would say it's not about blame, it's about empowerment. If you believe you're a product of a past cause, you're trapped. You can't do anything. But if you realize your current state serves a present goal, you suddenly have the power to choose a new goal. Right now.
So the past only has the power we give it in the present. This goal-oriented view, it even applies to things we think are automatic, like anger.
Absolutely. The philosopher asks, is anger just this uncontrollable impulse? Adler says, no. Anger is a tool. We pull it out of our toolbox when we need it. We fabricate it to achieve a goal, which is almost always to make someone submit to us quickly without a long discussion.
The example for this is just perfect. The coffee spill. Someone bumps you, spills coffee on your shirt, and you just start yelling. The argument is you didn't yell because you lost control. You chose to yell because explaining calmly felt like too much work. Shouting was faster.
And the ultimate proof is the mother who's screaming at her daughter. I mean, just letting her have it. And the phone rings. And she instantly picks it up and says, in this perfectly polite voice, "Hello?" That proves it. Anger isn't this uncontrollable wave. It's a tool you can put away the second you need a different tool for a different goal.
That is so true. Everyone has seen that exact moment happen. We know we can toggle our emotions. So if our feelings and actions are just tools, it means we can always choose different ones.
Exactly. And this collection of choices, our general disposition, is what Adler calls our lifestyle. And the crucial part is this isn't something you're born with. It's something you chose, probably around age 10. And if you chose it once, you can choose it again.
Okay, but if it's that simple, if we could just choose a new lifestyle, why are so many of us stuck? Why do we stay in patterns we say we hate?
Because we are making the continuous decision not to change. Changing is scary. It's unknown. We actually prefer the familiar disappointment of staying the same over the anxiety of stepping into something new.
So it's not about ability. It's about courage. The courage to be happy.
Precisely. And this is the courage we need to move from our inner world to our outer world. Which brings us to Adler's next huge assertion that all problems are at their root interpersonal relationship problems.
All of them. That's
Oh.
that's a sweeping statement. So if I were the only person in the universe, I'd have no problems.
None. Loneliness, inferiority, anxiety, they all need another person to exist, someone to be judged by or to compare yourself to. So even something like disliking yourself is actually about relationships.
How does that work? Why would I choose to dislike myself?
Because focusing on your flaws, I'm too awkward, I'm not smart enough, is a fantastic excuse to avoid the risk of real relationships. If you stay inside your shell, you never have to face rejection, you're safe.
And you have a built-in excuse. Oh, they didn't like me, but it's just because I'm unattractive. If I were better looking, things would be different. It lets you off the hook.
It gives you an easy out. But to grow, Adler says, we have to face the three major life tasks, which are all interpersonal hurdles: work, friendship, and love.
And the problems we have in these areas aren't really about the task itself, are they?
No, not at all. A problem at work is almost never about the work. It's about the fear of being criticized or judged by your boss or your colleagues. That's what a shut-in is avoiding. Not the labor, but the social judgment.
Okay, so if relationships are the source of all problems, what's the solution? What's the method?
It's a concept he calls the separation of tasks. And it comes down to asking one simple question: who ultimately gets the result of this choice? Whoever gets the result, that's whose task it is.
Let's use a real-world example. A kid who refuses to do his homework. The parents are going crazy. Whose task is it?
It is the child's task, because the child is the one who will ultimately receive the consequences, the bad grade. The parents worrying and lecturing, that's the parent's task. Adler is adamant. We must not intervene in other people's tasks, and we can't let them intervene in ours.
So you can help. You can offer support. But at the end of the day, you have to let go. It's that old saying, you can lead a horse to water.
But you can't make him drink.
I-
Exactly. Intervention, even when it's well-intentioned, is really an intrusion. It's about trying to make someone live up to your expectations. And this separation is the only way to get real freedom, especially freedom from what he calls the desire for recognition.
That need to be praised, to be liked, to get approval.
Right. And if you live your life trying to satisfy everyone else's expectations, you're not living your own life, you're living theirs.
Which leads to that really uncomfortable but also incredibly liberating line from the book. That the cost of freedom is that you will be disliked by other people.
Yes. Being disliked isn't a sign of failure. It's proof that you're exercising your freedom and living by your own principles, whether someone likes you or not. That is their task. You can't control it, so you have to let it go.
That is such a huge mental shift. It means you stop trying to manage everyone's feelings about you.
And it also gives you the power to fix broken relationships. If you use etiology, cause and effect, you might say, this relationship is ruined because they hurt me in the past, and you're stuck.
But if you use teleology, you can realize, my current goal is to avoid fixing this, maybe as a form of revenge. And if that's the goal, you have the power to change it.
Yeah.
Right now. You can take the first step.
Exactly. You always hold the cards, because you can always choose your goal.
So once we've separated our tasks and found this freedom, what's the end game? Where are we trying to get to?
The destination is what Adler calls community feeling, or social interest. It's this deep sense that you're part of a larger community, that others are your comrades, not your competition. It's a sense of belonging.
And to get there, he lays out 3 steps.
Right.
The first is self-acceptance.
Right, and this is not the sort of fluffy self-affirmation you hear about, like, I'm 100% perfect.
Mm.
It's something he calls affirmative resignation.
Affirmative resignation. That sounds like a contradiction.
It means you calmly accept the things you can't change. You accept your 60% self. And instead of dwelling on what you lack, you focus on what use you can make of the equipment you actually have. So you don't resign from life, you resign from the impossible demand to be perfect.
That's so much more realistic.
Yeah.
Okay, the second step is confidence in others.
This means you have to place unconditional confidence at the base of your relationships. You don't start from a place of doubt. If you start with doubt, you're always looking for a reason to break things off. If you start with confidence and you get taken advantage of, well, Adler would say that's the other person's task, not yours.
And finally, the big one. The one that can sound like martyrdom. Contribution to others.
Yes, but it's not self-sacrifice. Contribution is how we become aware of our own worth. We only feel our value when we have this feeling of, I am of use to someone. That's what pulls us out of being self-absorbed.
But what if you can't do anything? If you're sick or old or a shut-in, how do you contribute then?
Adler says contribution can happen just on level of being. Simply by existing, you have worth. Think about an elderly sick parent. They might not be able to do anything, but by being alive, they give their children the powerful purpose of caring for them. Their very existence is a contribution.
So happiness. The ultimate definition of happiness in Adler's world is simply the feeling of contribution.
That's it. It's the feeling of being useful to your community. So many people miss this because they're chasing this need to be a special being, either especially good, like a workaholic, or if they can't do that, especially bad, like a delinquent. Both are just ways to avoid being normal.
So the real courage is the courage to be normal, to accept that you're just a part of the whole, but that part has value.
And that changes how you see life itself. We tend to think of life as this linear path, a kinetic existence, where we're always trying to get to some destination, the promotion, the retirement.
Right, we live in the future, feeling like we're not complete until we get there.
Adler says no. Life is energial. It's like dancing, a series of moments. The movement itself is the point. The journey is the destination. There is no finish line you're rushing to. You're always complete, right here, in this moment. The dance is the goal.
That's a profound shift. It means the only thing that matters is to live earnestly and conscientiously here and now. If we really focus on this moment, the past and future they lose their power.
Which brings us to what Adler calls the greatest life lie.
What's the biggest lie we tell ourselves?
The lie of postponement. To not live here and now. We tell ourselves, this is just a preparatory period. When I get X, then my real life will start. It's a lie that allows you to turn away from the only thing you actually have, which is this irreplaceable moment.
So, the final thought.
Yeah.
The takeaway for anyone listening, what is it?
Someone has to start. If you wait for the other person to change or for the world to cooperate, you will wait forever. Adler's advice is clear. You start. You take the first step. Regardless of whether anyone else is cooperative. The world can be changed, but it can only be changed by you.